CRM Audio, the Microsoft Business Applications and Power Platform podcast. I'm Joel Lindstrom here with my co-host Shawn Tabor, and we are all about the hot off the presses release notes for Wave 2 2020. Mr. Tabor, how are you doing?
You know, I'm all right. It's early in the morning. Well, early for me, but I'm excited because we're talking about. I'm good.
Okay, great.
I'm good.
Can you contain your excitement about the Wave 2 2020 release notes?
To me, it's like Christmas morn.
Well, no presents.
Actually, it's like a week before Christmas because you can see the presents under the tree. You can shake them, but you can't actually play with them.
So you find out what your presents are going to be.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah. That's more appropriate analogy.
So, I think we flipped a coin or something and decided we are going to start with Power Platform.
Yep.
Who doesn't want to start with Power Platform is what I say.
Well,
so we're not going to read every single one of these, just calling out some of the highlights that I thought were there. I mean, there's so much stuff in there, and frankly, some stuff that's kind of vague. So can't talk about the vague stuff so much. But Power Apps portals are going to have a web API generally available. I've heard this was coming, so you'll be able to extend the portal further. Find it interesting, though, they say the sentence above that, we're enabling low-code makers to roll out experiences to broad external audience. Do you consider a web API to be a low-code thing?
No, unless there's some kind of graphical connector that you're dragging and dropping stuff to. But no, I wouldn't think that would be low-code at all. But that's great that there's going to be a web API for the portal because, you know, we have projects all the time where we're wanting to view data in a portal from other systems. So that's great.
I guess if Nick or Colin or maybe even George were here, I'd be asking them what's the big deal, because there's already a CRUD API for CDS and all portals are based on CDS. So what specifically with the portal is it? I don't really understand.
Being a non-developer, the fact that they say the Power Apps portal has a web API sounds really good to me. So yeah. I'm happy about that.
PBA is a component in Power Apps portals. That's cool.
That is very cool. That is
support
very cool.
For entity permission configuration. Basically, they are simplifying the experience of setting up entity permissions within Portal Studio. So when you have people external that aren't part of your environment, making it easier to help to control what they can do, which is good. PCF controls in portals. That's a big deal.
Love that.
Controls will be available for Canvas apps, and they will be in preview for portals too. I mean, just think of you basically will have much more complex portals and Canvas apps with PCF controls.
And think of the things you can do with just navigation, right? If you wanted to add like a menu bar, like a custom menu bar, or make a experience similar to the web or the mobile experience, you could do that. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. There's big changes coming with search and model-driven apps. Relevant search is going to be default if it's enabled, and it looks more like kind of like the new Outlook search, in that it's got zero query, more common data, common language expressions, that sort of thing, suggestions of records, making search smarter, but also I can't tell from the picture. Where's the search bar now in a model-driven app? Is it in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still in the middle, but it's giving you, if you look in the release preview, it's giving you not just the results, but suggested results too, and contacts related to it and other things like that. So making search smarter. Power's component framework for Canvas apps is public preview now. It'll be generally available 2021. Interesting that it's taking over a year from preview to general availability. That must mean that they're still baking it out a little bit.
Yeah, I take that as they want a lot of feedback to make it right. So by extending that time, you get a lot more capability. Plus, that gives them the ability to pull it forward if they get enough feedback and can get it where they need it to be.
Yeah, that's true. So we want it to be dependable, and I still see most of the PCF controls and PCF gallery are model-driven app only. Hopefully, that we'll see an increase in number of these, because some of those I've used several of them. I use the image browser, which is really cool. If you've got like, I had basically a list of records that had a URL to an image that I think was on Azure Web or something, and it rendered them all in a like a gallery in my model driven app. It was really cool. Also, like if you got URL and you want to preview it, there's some really good ones. The next two are things that a lot of people have asked for: Power BI in a system dashboard, and the ability to interact with emails on mobile, which is something we've never ever had. You can't do emails on mobile. You can view emails, but you can't send or receive emails. You can't really do email. I think that the thinking, and what I always told customers who complained about it was, well, Microsoft realizes people want to use their main email client on their phone for their email, use the Outlook app, but it's kludgy. So there are cases you want to do email, but this is not just model driven. This is Canvas too. So you'll be able to, sounds like the activity integration, CDS activity stuff is getting more tightly integrated with Canvas apps, which is a welcome change. I am curious to know what that means for attachments, because attachments are the biggest pain when it comes to Canvas apps and emails right now, and Flow.
Yeah, and this is a nice example of when Power Platform and Dynamics 365 gets confused. Because when you first started saying, "Oh, we get to interact with emails," I'm like, "What are you talking about? We can do that now." But I'm not thinking Power Platform. I'm thinking Dynamics. So yeah, it's you almost lost me for a second, but then I came back around.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah. I mean, you live in the future. You don't do email.
I am.
I
know.
You're all WhatsApp or whatever.
Only because I'm forced.
All right, so this next one is a bit of a mystery feature because it doesn't give a lot of details, but address key chart customization gaps in unified interface. I'm assuming that means, as our friend Ulrich will tell you, that a lot of the XML customizations you make in charts in Classic don't work in unified interface. So
like making them 3D or stuff like that.
Trend lines, changing labels, that sort of thing. Some of that works, but it's limited. So basically rendered his chart customization tool and XRM toolbox useless, pretty useless, because it didn't work. All right. So I think we can, those are a lot of the big ones. There's some of these that are a little bit vague, like they're changing something about how the subgrids display, giving more information maybe. Relevant search. This is another part of relevant search, but there's business Q&A integration with common data service relevant search. So if you ask it, who's the owner of Shawn's ski shack, it'll say Shawn Tabor. So getting away, that's a little bit more about, the queryless questions and stuff. And so again, I would love to see that. There's some examples here. So you can search with dates and holidays, search with numerical value, like open opportunities with estimated revenue bigger than $1 million.
Okay.
So that's cool. I hope, and probably if I'm thinking right, that might be to get away from people using things like Advanced Find so much, because Advanced Find, you still need to really understand the data model and understand the relationships, and average users just are looking for answers to questions.
In a Google fashion.
Another long time mobile gap, recurring appointments.
No.
I never track a recurring appointments.
I don't either. Not once.
I have not seen a business case where this recurring appointment needs to be tracked. It just does, because you have it on your calendar every week. I don't usually use the instances of a recurring appointment for anything specific. I could see if you wanted to, like, if you were paid based on the activity volume you did or something, you'd want to have that. But again, it hasn't been on my radar, but for some people it's really important to.
I think it really comes down to it comes down to like if you're like a wealth manager and you're doing quarterly reviews and that's how you have them set up, and then you're attaching notes and follow up and generating tasks from it, then I could see it. But
well,
I
here's
don't know.
now that I'm talking about it, I just talked myself into it. It's not the tracking, it's the creation of them. And
Right.
mobile sales and other things like that, mobile field service, whatever, you're likely to have some recurring appointments, and sure, you can create them in Outlook or whatever, but you want those to go into CDS and whatever. So I think it is good, specifically the creation of them.
Yeah, but the common I think the common behavior, mainly because it wasn't available, is to create those type of activities in the web.
Yeah.
At least right now.
Yeah, but again, if you're a mobile professional and you want to just travel with your phone, that's it. And so interesting that most of the things in the Power Apps category are model driven. The one big one, which spans both of them, is the adding Canvas custom pages to model driven app designers. That's the groundbreaking thing here. It's going to be preview in December. And basically what that's going to do is, we have embedded Canvas apps right now. We're going to be able to add pages to our model-driven apps that include Canvas apps, PCF components, things like that, that really bring the experiences together much more than embedded Canvas apps do. And so if I wanted to have a custom, I'll give you a scenario. I have a scenario where I've got a many-to-many relationship between accounts and contacts. So I want to create a new kind of grid that I can add a contact to multiple accounts. Right now, I have to in the context of a form for a record. So maybe I don't want to create a form for the record. I want to just have a button on the sitemap that pulls up this page where I can do this in a Canvas app type experience. That's going to be, in my opinion, a lot better and more native than an embedded Canvas app.
And is that going to open us up to be able to have multiple Canvas pages per entity? Removing the restriction for the single embedded Canvas app per entity?
You can have 3 now, Shawn.
I'm behind. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not a limit. You're basically adding these pages, and there's going to be templates so you can have, and this isn't just Canvas apps, this is also PCF controls, where there's, so kind of like dashboards, there's several different template layouts, but then there's also just a single app kind of page, and it's responsive too. So so yeah, it's going to be a game changer, Shawn. Game changer.
I don't doubt that. I'm excited for it.
And there's a new, I just thought we got one, but there's going to be a new modern model-driven app designer and sitemap and layout. So again, we'll see what that is. Something's changing there. Several enhancements to AI Builder. I didn't see anything really groundbreaking there. It's enhancements on things like form processes, tagging, and other things like that. Invoice processing, receipt scanning. A lot of this stuff was introduced in preview, so it's just maturing that. There's changes coming, basically completing out the admin center. Things that are not currently in there will continue to be in there. We already saw that, like in the last week, the Dynamics 365 admin center now automatically reconnects you to the redirection to the Power Platform admin center. Any thoughts of the things we talked about so far? What's the biggest news? What's the headline, Shawn?
For me, I would agree with you. It's the Canvas pages. There's a lot of ideas that immediately come to mind for, a lot of my customers, especially in field service. But I want to make sure how they're going to convey over in mobile, That would be important to me. How a Canvas page, which theoretically it should just, be responsive and come right over. But, I'd want to understand that. But that's exciting to me, Canvas pages.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And I think there's a lot of really good things I think the search is pretty groundbreaking. I mean, that's going to affect everybody in Dynamics. And I've started to, in deployments, just turn on relevant search and see people complain about it versus the old way of leave it off and then say, hey, there's this other kind of search we could do. And if people learn it from the beginning, they generally like it. If they get used to the old way, they don't, it's kind of weird to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. Again, there's times where I like the old way. If you're precisely searching for something, I still like the old way a little bit better because I can use asterisks and things like that.
Well, and they like the layout where it's very, columnar. I can't say that word. It's in columns.
Columnar.
There you go. So yeah, I've had customers that really like that presentation. So, as opposed to the list of results.
Yeah, I agree. So with Power Automate, there's a number of things maturing UI flow, such as making it work with certain common desktop applications it doesn't work with right now, like Excel and SAP, which is interesting because there's a connector for Excel and SAP, but they don't do everything. So I think the message being, if there's an API, use the API for it. But this is just, I think, a case where there are certain things more that the connector doesn't do, using UI flow to do them, making it more stable too. Another theme that's in several of these is making Power Automate more known to the rest of the Power Platform, so that when you have a flow called by an app or a flow called by a PVA, that whatever's calling it is aware of its connectors and things like that, so that you don't have to, if you make a change to your flow or change your variables, you don't have to start over like you do now. It's really kind of right now, like if you define a PVA or you define a Power App and then you call a flow and then you make some kind of change there, either to the app and the variables or the flow, it kind of breaks it. And so their goal is to make it so users will never need to delete and re-add the flow from their app to make it work after the changes in the flow, if you make some change. So that's really good.
And that'll persist when you migrate it from environment to environment, or
yeah. So if you make a change, it's not going to break it. They're improving the integration with Teams, and they're having calling a diet designer. What do you think a diet designer is? You're not designing your diet. What it is, it's kind of a simplified, like a simplified maker experience that will be launched from Teams. So I want to make a flow in Teams. I launch it, which is a simplified, slimmed down designer that is easier for people in Teams to do without being flow experts.
Maybe, does that have anything to do with the adaptive cards that you could use in Teams?
No, I'm talking about the flow maker experience.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be all right with that. I've been playing with sorry, my eyes are itching. I've been playing more with Power Automate lately, and in one of my projects, we've changed our base notification method from email to Teams. So every notification being generated is going to Teams rather than email. So I'm getting to play a little bit more with that, and I really, really like it. And now with some of the changes they're making to where you can, do the @ people in your notifications and things like that, that really makes me want to use Teams a lot more with Power Automate.
Right. Yeah. Are you doing adaptive cards, or are you doing messages?
Doing a little bit of both, depending on the notification. So yeah. Some of them we're going just to channel because they're just broad updates for a larger audience. But for example, if we're sending a notification to a designer for a specific change, it's going directly to the person, which is really cool.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. It's easier than it used to be. Originally, you had to find the channel ID, which isn't necessarily easy. Where now
remember the one we were trying to do when it was in preview?
Yeah,
that was not fun.
Adaptive cards got easier too, but yeah, they're getting to where you don't necessarily have to be a JSON expert. So let's see. Transitioning to Power Virtual Agent, or PVA.
Look at that.
You love the nice segue,
Shawn. I do, and that was a lovely segue, sir. I want to give you the kudos when you deserve them. But so yes, I do.
Here's what's new and exciting with PVA. You're going to be able to auto-trigger a topic when the conversation starts. So if you want everybody to get initial few questions, you'll be able to theme your bots, so change the look and feel. You'll be able to surface adaptive cards inside a PVA.
I like that.
And equally exciting, or maybe more so, images and video support. I know Emma Darcy was trying to surface some kind of either a video or an image, and it just didn't natively support. There were some hacky ways to do it, but this is going to help with that.
Yeah, there's a YouTube connector that I never could get really working well because the whole JSON thing. So that's good to see. That's good to hear, especially when you're wanting to return a video in results for a request for assistance. Like you could, instead of providing an article, if you give them an option for a video, it'd be nice to just pop that video right in that experience. So that's great to hear.
Yep. List variables. So being able to take like a Power Automate list records and present the results back to the person in the bot as a list of choices.
Nice.
That'll make it a lot more flexible. Voice support. That's a big one. I've had 3 requests for that in the last 2 months, or like questions about it. And
are you talking about voice to text or
voice bots? You're going to be able to publish these as Alexa skills.
Oh, okay. All right.
And taking the FAQ concept and making it handle more complex things, what they call multi-turn topic suggestions. So extracting from a website or something like that, more elaborate instructions as multi-step dialogues, basically. And this is another one that people have asked for, multiple times, not just FAQ, but being able to import from Excel, Docs, PDFs, CSV for topic suggestions.
Yeah, that's a big one, because the FAQ import is really nice, but it depends on how that FAQ site is structured, on whether or not how much manipulation you have to do with the results that come in. Because for example, I did an import from an FAQ from NASA, and it's very clean. It came across as very usable data. But I did an FAQ from a manufacturer, and it was horrendous. I had to do a lot of update to the responses to make them usable. So,
yeah, and so maybe we'll be able to finally turn CRM Tip of the Day into a bot.
That would be outstanding. George bot.
So one thing, there's a lot of pages about Power BI, and I think it's awesome, but I don't feel qualified to talk about it. So tune into your favorite Power BI podcast to learn more about all that stuff.
Exactly. Or head over to Ulrich's blog.
Yeah. But there's 2 things hiding, deep in the CDM weeds that I wanted to highlight.
Okay.
So, Shawn, we got the Project Athena export to data lake, right?
I do know that, yes.
Okay. So we're getting support for audit data to the lake, which is going to allow you to do reporting and analysis on the audit history from your environment. How many people have wanted to do that?
Since time immemorial.
And the other thing is, we're finally getting support in March 2021 for time series data. So you want to see the full history of changes in your database. it's going to support that. So you want to set up, think of all the work people had to do if they want to see the historical trends in their opportunities, or, field service, work order completion rates or things like that. And you can't really do it from just the static data, because you need to see how things are changing, specifically for things that are forward facing, like opportunities. You can see it from case history and things like that. But if you need to see how did my pipeline change from week to week to week, that's going to be awesome. That's going to make it basically automatic. Now you still need to write reports on top of it, but that's all going to be there by default. So
now, do you think the audit history? Do you think that has anything to do with reactions to regulations, being able to enforce those, or provide aid to corporations that want to be able to enable those a little bit easier?
maybe.
I could see that. I mean, I could see that, because one of the things, I mean, we had some advancements with audit capability going to the Microsoft 365 portal a little while ago, but we still had the issue of the logs and having to deal with that. This, if I understand it correctly, being able to export that frees you up from that restraint of the log taking up too much space in your instance. You could once you push that data to the lake, you can then purge your logs and still have your reporting, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it could be. So I didn't think about that, and it doesn't mention that in here. I think that could be part of it, as well as just people wanting to report off of that. Just
Right.
things like user adoption, how many people are using the system, how many people are actually creating records, where the time series data will tell me what's changed over time and what my overall looks like. This will tell me like activity history too.
Right. Yeah. Every time. A while back, every time I would show audit history, they'd be like, "Oh, cool, we can report off that." Oh, well, no. But you can look at it here; it's pretty. Yeah, so
Right.
that's encouraging.
Okay, so we have, in half an hour or less, got through the Power Platform roadmap. Again, not
Outstanding.
everything. You still should read it, but I think we
Right.
hit high points.
I think so.
Lots to look forward to. I guess if I was to look broadly across them, I think the one that's going to save me the most headache is going to be the changes to Power Automate, so that I don't have to go back and change things over and over. From a user perspective, I'm thinking search. If it really works good, a good search. That's or also the things like the activities like emails inside of mobile.
But see, again, I guess it's context, because you're doing a lot more with core Power Platform, whereas I'm doing a lot more with core Dynamics.
But here's
So
the thing:
those, yes, sir.
the things I mentioned that a user are going to be
No, I know. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to equate what my, I guess I got to, once I see it, I'm sure I'll come along to your position. But right now, I'm thinking, no, okay, yeah, that's fine.
those Canvas pages.
That's to me is the big
Field
one.
service stuff in there.
Yeah,
You can have
that's,
all that stuff that people are trying to do, with embedding a bunch of Canvas apps. Just create a nice page that gives them what they
right.
want. I can see that too. I mean, think about it. That could be a replacement for dashboards in a lot of ways too, because
Yeah.
really what people want with dashboards is mashing up information. So if I can do a Canvas page embedded in my model-driven app, and can put a Canvas app and some PCF controls on that, that'd be a pretty. I didn't see if you could put Power BI in there too, but that would be cool. So
yeah, I could see a lot of potential with Canvas pages.
And I think
that's the one that gets me excited.
I think the Power BI in system dashboards makes Power BI a much more appealing choice for dashboards too.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because you always have a lot of excitement, especially from that Power BI person that's in your meeting. But then when they really fully understand that you can only do it on personal dashboards and they don't move with the solution and all that stuff, the enthusiasm deflates a bit.
A little bit. Yeah, no, I agree. I love the capability for system dashboards.
All right. So, I mean, since Matt's not here, we really can't talk much about customer insights. We invited Matt. You didn't come.
Well,
some vacation or something.
Again, he's off doing, the things he does on motorcycles. And he's entitled to do it.
I guess we'll cut him some slack. Maybe we can do another podcast with him about that. Something happened to your mic, Shawn? You suddenly got quieter.
No, I'm a bit. I was going to say I'm a bit introspective, but that has nothing to do with my mic.
Yeah, you suddenly got muffled.
Oh, sorry. I might have mumbled.
Okay,
I'll enunciate.
Once again, this time they put marketing first in the Dynamics roadmap, which is interesting because marketing is neither the biggest or most popular solution, nor is it the alphabetically first solution. So, what do you think that says that marketing is first?
Maybe they're just wanting to get some attention to it, and if you have to scroll past it first, you might pause on it and look at it. Maybe.
Or maybe somebody in the marketing group put the document together.
That could be as well. That there's a high probability in that as well. Yes.
All right. So the first thing, and again, this is probably the only customer insights thing I'm going to say. So marketing segments, which is the marketing list for Dynamics marketing, they use customer insights for building them, and customer insights also has the ability to use dynamic data from other sources, a bunch of other sources,
right?
Salesforce, other things like that. So we haven't been able to use those dynamic segments with data from other sources for marketing campaigns because the data for those contacts is not in the system, but they're going to enable that. So I'm thinking that means something from those dynamic segments is going to sync to the CDS now.
Well, that would make sense, hopefully.
Yeah. Collect and manage form submissions under an entity other than lead or contact. This is also a very important step because originally everything had to be a contact. It really still does. I mean, you can do account-based marketing and stuff, but and the way they use leads is different than the way that Dynamics has typically used it. So while I don't see them using leads differently, this will free us up to be able to have say somebody that's related to an account or some entity other than a contact be the start of a customer journey. Direct integration for Teams live events and Teams meeting. This is huge because marketing has been really limited on the number of web providers, like web meeting providers they supported on 24, and I think there was one other one. And the fact they didn't work with Teams and Teams live events was just kind of weird. So right now, when we've done big events, we've used things like GoToMeeting because they handle registrations. But if I can have a form and I can then work with Teams or Teams live events, that's going to, I think, be a really good thing for Microsoft marketing because, again, it's what everybody's using these days.
Well, and it just makes sense.
It changed the customer journey canvas experience, and it's not the blocky business process flow type tiles anymore. And my first reaction is, that looks kind of like Click Dimensions campaign automation. I would love to get Matt's take on that one. Improve social posting. It can't get much. It doesn't. It can only get better. Put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So that's marketing. Are you overwhelmed, or underwhelmed?
I am completely whelmed.
I think it's making substantial changes in the right areas, and I will say that the Dynamics marketing plus customer insights is a pretty powerful combination.
I don't doubt that, but this is just another case of specialization, and that's why I'm happy I know Matt.
Right, so moving to sales, something I know about. The first thing in sales, so this has to be the headline: gamification. Okay. It's not dead.
Okay.
Gamification admin experience is now available in unified interface.
Okay. How many clients have you actually implemented gamification for?
Oh,
Honestly.
dozens and dozens. Here's my favorite line here. Gamification is commonly used in sales organizations and teams to boost seller motivation. Commonly used, I've seen 3 of them. So,
Yeah.
and I like it, and I was really excited
Yeah.
about it. But then it seemed like it just got no attention. So I'm always leery to do something that I don't know where it's going, because it was a great, like, when it was the MVP Summit, when they showed they had acquired that, and we had the guy from the Fantasy Sales League
Yeah.
team, whatever, come talk. The excitement in the room was palpable.
It was cool. It was cool, but the problem is, to me, if you don't have a team that is already doing some form of manual gamification, if you will, um, the overhead that it brings to an organization, if they're not prepared for it and able to work with that, that's where it runs into problems.
And
It's a great concept. It's a great idea. I'm not. I'm
that's where
not.
I think the people who are successful with it, and there are people who've been successful with it, have all started.
Absolutely.
They've all started with like a single group with 5 people,
Yeah.
gone through a couple games, got their points right. Because you never get the points right the first time. You have one guy
Right.
that gets 5,000 points, and you say, "Oh wait, we should adjust that because he's gaming the system." That's usually me.
Right.
But
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
but that's, I mean, it's good. The other thing is, there were just, the thing that turned me off to gamification was there were just a few quirks with it that they never fixed. Like the URL would go to the wrong place. It kept going to fantasysalesteam.com for the link to the game when it should have gone there, and you couldn't change that template, and it never got changed. So that made me a little bit sour on that. So
Right.
also, I read a book about the fallacy of rewards, and it kind of made me think, like, people do this wrong. People do it as a way, and I like gamification that it's set up to enable you to reward the non-top players and stuff. But again, I still see people use it as the brag board and have the one
Right.
player get all the marbles.
Well, that's like the LinkedIn Sales Navigator SSI. I'm still number one in our entire company.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And you post on LinkedIn how many times?
A couple times a week. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
I got to pay more attention, because
Yeah.
I was.
See now here comes Joel gaming the.
I'm not competitive at all.
No, not at all.
So the simplified mobile experience for sales is coming. I'm excited to see that. And I think people have wondered, well, we've got Power Apps. Why do we have these first party mobile apps for sales, even though we got the Dynamics app? I think the point is, there's still a large number of people out there that like to buy a product, that don't want to build their own. Because again, you have the great tools, but if you don't have the ideas, or you just want something for your salespeople to use it simple, just buy something. This is one that I'm excited about, but I wish they would bring it broader than just sales. The PDF generation. The PDF generation started with quotes. Now it's going to other entities, including custom entities, the ability to use it in workflows, things like that. So I'm just asking, why is this a sales feature? Because salespeople generate documents, but field service people generate documents, manufacturing people generate documents, customer service people generate documents. So if we have this capability, why limit it to just the salespeople?
Right. And is it truly only limited to sales objects?
No, it's not, but it's in the sales category.
Right, but that doesn't limit us from exposing that capability and extending it or anything like that, right?
No, but this tells me you'll probably need to go configure it in the Sales Hub.
I see. Okay. Fair
That's
enough.
what I'm saying. And also, people who do model-driven apps outside that, I realize that you have to have some differentiator to justify people paying more for Dynamics than Power Apps.
Mhm.
But if PDF generation is not one of those things that's a unique feature, a game changer. You can use Power Automate to do it. Maybe that's the reason. There's other ways you can do it for the rest of the platform, but this is specific for sales. So I would be surprised if it didn't come. Just like the new email experience, you turn that on in the Sales Hub, you get it everywhere. So
right.
I
mean, if that's what happens, then I'm okay with it being in the Sales Hub. It's just
but
something you got to remember.
You might have people who don't have the Sales Hub. You might have, if you have field service but you don't have sales, then you won't have the Sales Hub and you won't be able to turn the feature on.
Okay, so everybody gets sales.
Sales forecasting, which I'm a big fan of. I think if you're doing a sales deployment, if you're basically shooting yourself in the foot if you don't turn on forecasting, because forecasting is what every sales manager wants to see, not just a list of opportunities. If you just give them a list of opportunities, they'll export to Excel and build their forecast there. Have them build forecast there. You can create multiple forecasts. And I'm really excited. Support for quantity forecasting is coming. So demand planning, that kind of thing. We've had requests for, we've built things. We built kind of a Power App to do that. It's a standard F&O feature to do demand planning from manufacturing process. But I'm talking demand planning from a sales process. If you have people that are not selling a widget for $5,000 at this quantity in a one-time sale, but rather a process, think of a CPG manufacturer who gets a commitment for, I'm going to buy, 10,000 boxes per month. And, there's no real way to forecast that quantity. And so that bridge between before the F&O demand planning forecasting is once they're a customer, but I'm talking about the where sales connects with it and being able to, from the opportunity forecast, be able to forecast quantity over time. That's a really killer thing.
Can you do that with like subscriptions or non-physical products?
I don't know any more than what it says, support for quantity forecast. But that's what I've done, when we've given them feedback. That's what I said, this is great. This is great for sales forecasting for dollars, but we need to also be able to forecast demand on quantity. And it's also the ability to break down the forecast by dimensions like product type, market, product family, other things like that. Where right now you have it at the opportunity level, it's more enterprise grade because big companies want to split their forecast, not just at the opportunity, but based on the products related to it. So if you had, 3 products on your opportunity and 2 of them are this family, 1 of them are this family, being able to split the forecast that way.
Right. That's cool. We got to get our salespeople to use that.
Yeah, that'd be great. And common tasks on the go, the sales mobile app, which is supposed to be in previewed in this wave. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited. There's like 6 pages of screenshots of that thing.
I love playing with stuff on the mobile app,
and
especially in preview.
Yeah, and the quote to cash process. Again, something that people have asked for a long time. The ability to take a quote directly to an order. So people that sell small, high volume quoting kind of scenarios, they don't want to go through an opportunity. And let me take this quote and create an order from it. So that's going to be cool. And that's one of the reasons, besides configuration, people go with a CPQ. So I don't think this is going to mean CPQs aren't needed anymore, but I think it's going to take some of the things, simpler scenarios, and allow us to use standard quotes for them to go directly to an order without having to do an opportunity.
Well, and and for some of the service organizations where they have their service technicians have the ability to quote things, that's really important in that kind of scenario too, because they don't want the overhead of an opportunity, which they've had to deal with in the past. So that's really good.
Yeah, and again, I think we do this for a living, and so I've gotten the distortion field around me and thinking, okay, this is the best practice. You have to do it this way. But then you see the real world and say, yeah, I can see why, it's not for this sale, that is, either small dollar or lots of them. It's lots of individual sales that make up a big number, but individually are smaller. It's not worth money to have salespeople call 5 times to close this deal. It's a single call. You're interested in the timeshare, or you're not interested in the timeshare,
Right.
and move on.
Do you want the tickets to Disney or not? Sign up for the timeshare.
So there's lots of good stuff about sales insights, relationship stuff, other stuff like that, relationship insights. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff because it's not my focus area.
Yeah.
Product Visualize is getting some really cool stuff, like being able to access training materials and things like that. I really like Product Visualize. I haven't had the pleasure of working with it yet, and I'm glad to see that has come to the Power Platform too, by being able to show, like, Aaron had a post on LinkedIn where they used it to visualize what a TV would look like on the wall of their conference room in their office.
Right. Yeah,
but that
pretty cool.
Just to service. Let's transition now to the wonderful service area inside Dynamics 365.
Do you have any cool kind of like interlude music to get us there? Some mood music?
I probably could.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. So there's a number of items that I wanted to talk about. Given our the time remaining, thanks, Joel. I'll make it brief. This is my life on this podcast. Anyway,
I covered like 8 areas, so on average, you have the same amount of time as I do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you said you wanted a reaction video. I told you I'd react to the limited amount of time I get to talk. But anyways, so with customer service, there's a number of items that for me, while it's not my focus, they popped out to me because I thought they were important to a multitude of customers. The rich text control with embedded images for notes, that's a big deal. Being able to really,
isn't that just the general platform though?
Right. But it's specifically called out under customer service. So the configuration for the timeline, that is a big deal. So give you an example. I have a custom activity. I don't want it to be displayed everywhere. Now I have the ability to not display that on the timeline, or not to enable a new creation of that. I can make that specific where I want it to be. Customer service having multi-session apps instead of having to do unified service desk or omni-channel. That's really important. The new unified interface for service scheduling. Had a project a while back, had to do service scheduling, and there was a little bug where sometimes it would show in unified interface, sometimes it would show in the classic, and it was kind of willy-nilly on when it would actually show. So now it's going to be seamless. It's always going to be unified interface. That I'm really excited about. And there's a lot of knowledge article enhancements in this release, which I'm really excited about, because that spans all the service areas, not just customer service. But and I think sometimes knowledge articles don't get the appreciation that they should. So I was really happy to see those enhancements.
I think that is because it's one feature that requires a lot of work by customers to get it to work well.
Yeah, you're right.
You can have the great tool, but you'd have to have the ideas. You have to know what to do, and that takes a commitment that a lot of companies either aren't willing or can't take. Maybe they don't have the information, they don't know what to put in there, and where do they start? So that's
Right.
that's the challenge there. One, to add to that, I think the activity monitoring for automatically created records, like the auto case creation rules, is going to be a big deal, because it's a pain right now to know, is my auto record creation succeeding or failing, and then when it fails, why did it fail? So that's something that isn't going to like rock anybody's world from a user perspective, but from an administrative perspective or a customer service manager, that's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, and it's those kind of things like that are giving you enhanced interaction with your customer in those kind of methods. Like another good one is the inserting the knowledge articles into an email. That's kind of cumbersome right now. Being able to do one or more in a seamless way is going to be really good. The file attachment experience, that is going to be, it's going to be inline. You can do quick previews. You're going to be able to select and manage multiples. That's really important. And then in omni-channel, the one I'm going to call out, and I'll let Sarah talk about all the other fancy stuff. But the one that I want to call out is embedding the chat in mobile. So having a mobile experience where you could have chat for omni-channel for a customer, which is I think is really a big deal. Because it gives them...
It's basically catching up with Parature.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. But still, it's really. I liked it. It was a really cool feature.
We'll chat, because I've many times been chatting with my phone company or whatever on my phone, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I set up. I did chat with Spectrum the other day because my router is awful.
I saw you were complaining to Lowe's about your Windows too.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
Did you try chatting with them?
Yeah, it was awful. They did. Screw it. It's on this podcast. I'm saying it. No, they DM'd me like it was gonna, like they were so incredibly concerned. So I DM'd them back with the information they asked for. They never replied. Never replied. I replied again 3 times. Nothing. Called the store. Nothing. So I canceled everything.
Wow.
Canceled it all. Shut it down. Thousands of dollars in business gone.
So perfect example of why you want these mobile chat enhancements.
Exactly. Because we can't find anybody at the store to talk to. Customer service people at the store don't know what they're talking about. And if you can't get anybody on a chat, then what do you want me to do? I'm taking my business elsewhere. That's what's happening. That's right. And I have my paperwork, if you could see it, on my desk right now to call to make sure I get my refund. It's awful. Now you got me all fired up. Way to go. Way to go. I think this is just a clever ruse to give me less time to talk about field service. I think that's what's going on right now, Joel. And I'm on to you. I'm on to you. Well, for field service, we have a number of really cool things. One of the biggest things that I've gotten to see an early preview for is the asset hierarchy and location on work orders. This is basically functional location of assets. And It's awesome. It's awesome. So let's say you have a HVAC unit on the roof. You can indicate that it's on the roof. So it's not just at a service account, but it's at this place on the service account, right? So if there's multiple buildings, you can say it's at this building on this floor. Very, very cool stuff. A lot of capabilities open up there when you start dealing with that kind of stuff. I'm very excited about that. We're already started to see some previews of reporting that's built in. So I'm excited to see more work order metrics and more dashboards coming for field service. It's not quite where I want it to be in total, but I think that gives us an opportunity as partners to build that kind of stuff. So,
what kind of reports is it? Like, what's been missing that you're getting now?
Well, I mean, you want stuff like, you want to be able to get really robust utilization reporting, first time closure rates, promise percentages. I promised to be within this window. Did I make it or not? Things like that. A lot more reporting. The more reporting, honestly, in those kind of metrics, the better you have to be able to engage your technicians in training opportunities, first case resolutions, and then you're looking at, then when you start getting into IoT and device alerts, you can start seeing those kind of overlays that we have now, work order history over IoT history, stuff like that's going to be in there. But having that more reporting surfaced, I think is better for especially the field service admins.
Yeah.
So integration with supply chain management, that's a big deal to me. With the dual write stuff that's out there now, especially like for that where I'm playing around with it for project operations. I don't envy anybody that's an F&O guy. I'm sorry, unified operations person. I respect their abilities, and I'm happy they're there because I don't have to do that.
That's
But
why it's MVP Scott Gaines and Sakrup Pereb.
exactly. So that's why it's important to have that integration with supply chain management on the field service side, because that kind of brings us full circle, right? So there's early access coming in August for that. Hopefully, I'll be taking a look at that and blogging my pants off with that. We got some really cool stuff in scheduling. Something I'm very, very excited about coming in October. Multi-day scheduling on the new schedule board. That is a big, big deal. Cannot wait to get that, because multi-day has always been a problem.
What are you doing now for multi-day?
Making the best of it, kind of. I mean, it just because the schedule board doesn't really, it wasn't built for that, so you can't really display it well, right? So if you have project-based field service implementations, it gets very hairy. If then you have to get creative and say, okay, I'm going to schedule the service tasks instead of the work order, or I'm going to schedule the work order with the project manager and the tasks with the individuals, so I can get smaller chunks of time and I can see it better on the schedule. So it gets messy. So I'm happy to see the multi-day scheduling company. The enhanced skills matching based in resource for RSO. For the folks that use RSO, that's going to be really great. That's coming in early access in August. Let me zoom ahead here for time. The embedded, there's a preview for October. It's not GA in this release, but it's a preview. And that's the embedded optimizer within the schedule board. So that's where we're going to be seeing some of the RSO optimization capabilities brought into the core product, which will be really neat to see.
What's going to be, any clue what the differentiation is going to be? What are we going to be able to do with that versus what we'll need RSO?
It doesn't really go into a great deal of information. It's really just saying the default capabilities of resource scheduling optimizer is made available in the schedule board.
Yeah, I mean, if at a basic level it allows for simple route optimization and things like that, that'll be a good thing.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Then the predictive work duration. That's the public preview that's coming in October. This is really going to be significant for organizations that want to manage their. This could be utility companies. This could be service organizations. That have a lot of dispatch resources or teams. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're a plumbing company and you're sending a team out to do a complex job. You want to be able to understand how long that job is going to take based on who you put on the job. Right now, you can't really do that. You can find the best people to do it based on their skill set, but predictive work duration is going to say, all right, if I put Joel, Sean, Matt, and Sarah on this job, it's going to take 8 hours. But if I take Sean off and put Scott Gaines on there, Scott Gaines or Andy Popkin, it's going to take 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
So doing things like that, it really brings efficiencies to your resources.
If I'm thinking right, any of the other predictive stuff need a basis of sometimes a large number of data before you can do predictions. You got to have a model that's based on 600 to 1,200 records at least. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that's cool. I'm wondering, is that going to be kind of a real time, create one, and based on the aspects of the work order and the incident type and things like that, and the people assigned to it, it's going to figure out the duration. But it would have to happen, either. I'm wondering, will they put the predicted duration in a different field and you'll still have your duration based on the work order, or is it going to automatically populate the duration of the job based on that?
I would assume, and I'll tell you more when I see it. But I would assume this is going to populate the estimated duration field automatically based on the resources, and rather than because right now that's a combination of incident types and tasks. So when you set up the tasks, whatever those durations are, that sets up the estimated duration. So I think this will help influence that field.
Yeah, I think to me that's almost more valuable than predictive lead scoring.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because this is in a lot of ways this is going right to the bottom line.
Right.
You know. So yeah,
also,
I'm very excited
because leads and opportunities, people add more stuff to them. They change the process. They don't all use the standard fields. Where for work orders, you pretty much all use the standard fields. So that seems to me to be a cleaner model to predict on.
Yeah. No, I agree. And there's three other items that I want to talk about really quickly because I know we're a little over time. The mobile app, the Field Service Mobile Power App. Yes, I did say Power App. Is going to have full parity with the current Field Service Mobile app, the Woodford-based solution. Very excited about that. That's going to look good. I've been playing with that. Inspections will be rolled out to general availability. I've been doing a lot of work with inspections with some of our customers. I just put a blog post out there yesterday about how to use Power Automate with that.
You're all about the inspections, Inspector Gadget.
I really am. And because it's really cool stuff. I mean, what I'm hoping to see is that in long term, you could take inspections and use it for more than just field service, right? And make it, assessments you do, evaluating a customer opportunity.
Everybody does inspections every manager is inspecting their stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it'd be good. It's especially though assets is a really good, good use of it.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And then lastly, public preview in December, Technician Locator. So they're going to have a way to actually be able to say, this is where your technician is, kind of the Domino's, radar kind of thing.
Okay.
For field service techs. So that's pretty cool.
I wonder what they're for that.
I'm not sure.
What's that thing where a technician can send where they are? What do you call that?
The third-party solution for it right now? The main one is Glimpse.
Glimpse, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's that or if it's something else, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, cool.
And there's some enhancements for remote assist, but I'll blog about those, so don't worry about that.
Nice. Well, good job. You got through all of it.
I did indeed.
We're only like 3 minutes over, so bold star to you. And you'll probably do more with Sarah, and we'll try and get Matt in as well to talk about the exciting world of marketing. But this has been good. We're excited. So go download the release notes yourself, read through them, because there's lots of stuff we didn't get a chance to talk about. And for listening to CRM Audio.